but the company is located in Philadelphia area, so Pennsylvania,
All
which
right,
is where
wonderful.
I'm normally at.
All right, good deal. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we dig into your company. How do you get into the cannabis industry? How do you find your way? And what would we like to know about you?
Yeah. So I started working in staffing, I'd say about 6 or 7 years ago. And I just started at a local firm in, my small hometown. And then just kind of wanted more, just because it was very local. So then I actually went to tech recruiting, was there for a little bit, went over to healthcare recruiting, worked in the travel nurse recruitment for a little while, for 2 or 3 years. And then started with Calyx, kind of switched over to the cannabis industry.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good. So what is Calyx on a high level for our audience members?
So Calyx Staffing is, it's a staffing company, but we staff for mostly C-level executives within the cannabis hemp CBD industry. And what we mostly focus on is simplicity. An effortless process of staffing for not only our clients, but also our candidates. A lot of it comes down to communication, the ability to build the brand into a people come first scenario. And that's something that not only I believe, but also Calyx believes, my boss believes in as well. So we do take a lot of work. We really do try to vet our candidates so that they are the right candidate for the company that we're sourcing.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for anyone joining us, if you can put your microphone on mute, we're getting a little bit of feedback. That would be very helpful. Thanks so much. So Calyx, how long has the company been around for? When was the inception, you said?
Yep. So it was founded in 2018. And it was founded by my boss, his name is Joshua. And he originally started, this was, going back 20 years, he started Therapy Source, which is a staffing company for therapists. Mm-hmm. And he built that into a $30 million company, which is still around today. And he saw a need for staffing within the cannabis industry because there really isn't anyone. So that's when he started it in 2018 and has been building it up ever since.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And I'm really happy to hear that, the company's roots does more or less originate from a healthcare driven background. And you guys would I be mistaken if I said you're trying to get your workforce not only to address the everyday needs of dispensaries or executives, but also other staff as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whatever the company needs. Whether it's production staff or cultivation, we're there to help our clients out in any way that we can.
Absolutely.
And I know, we really try not to be the pushy staffing company, because I know I don't like to deal with that. So I don't want to do that to my clients or my candidates either. So it's more just, we want to provide value to to our clients. We want to help them and to succeed and to see them grow.
Absolutely. So I always like kind of teeing up like a scenario. So someone would come to you, say, looking for a CFO. I'm a part of an edibles-based company here in Oklahoma City. And okay. As things go on and the more people we meet, we realize that having the financials and at the most granular level, knowing every intimate detail is just a must. So say I'm in need of someone who can really appreciate the value of, say, like 280E, how it can absolutely kill a business that is doing everything by the book, but just being held back by some of some things that we truly don't understand still.
Right.
How would someone like your company help assist us in that sort of situation?
So, I mean, first it comes down to communication again, communicating with our clients and knowing what their pain points are, what exactly is needed, what's going on, what isn't working currently. And then also researching and to find the right fit for that company. So it depends on, I mean, it's all circumstantial. So, one company could, need a certain type of candidate, whereas that candidate might not be good for a different type of company. And they could be in the exact same industry or the same field, but it's just not, it's whatever works for their culture and their company.
Absolutely. So I guess a better question might be, what are some of the most common issues that people are coming to you guys trying to overcome? I guess, could you give us maybe some of the top 3 common things that people are coming to time and time again saying, man, this is not working, whether that be from a grow to someone else? And I know it's situational, but if your door is knocked on for one thing that comes to the forefront of your mind, what would that be these days?
So I know I can give you an example of a current client that we have. They're looking for salespeople. However, it depends on, the location that they're at. The location that they're in is a really tough market because it's so flooded with so many, different cannabis companies or hemp companies or CBD companies. So it's really hard in that industry or in that area, the locale. So finding someone who not only knows the industry, but also has contacts already within the cannabis market. And that's what they're looking for. So, I think a lot of, again, it is regional, but, my territory is kind of the West Coast. So a lot of my clients, they're more having issues with, because the market is so flooded, that's their issue that they're currently having. I'm trying to think of a few other ones.
Sure, no worries.
As I say, I've only been in the cannabis industry for, I'd say, about a couple months now. So I'm still fresh.
Hey,
still
no
learning.
Worries. Well, I mean, listen, right? Every day is a learning experience, and I say if you want to learn something every day, get into the cannabis industry because it is evolving, it's changing every single day. So so let's get a little bit more personal. What is one of the most interesting things that you found, I guess, going from a more what would be defined as a traditional job and entering into the cannabis industry and seeing truly a market that has so much potential, so much value, and needs a lot of help. What's some of the most interesting challenges that you've faced and that you've enjoyed in getting to know this industry in a short couple months?
Yeah. So I mean, I love a challenge. That's one thing that I really do enjoy. And I think so. Coming from the healthcare side, there's tons and tons of travel nurse recruiting or staffing agencies. There's literally hundreds upon hundreds of them. So, it's very competitive. It's hard, to get your foot in the door as if it's a brand new company because there's already so many companies. Whereas in the cannabis industry, there's not a lot out there. So it's building something completely new. And that's what I've enjoyed, at least, because there's a lot of research. There's a lot of, finding out what works and what doesn't work. And I think that's something that I enjoy. But also with the cannabis industry, there's so much money to be made within the industry. And it's so new. I liken it to kind of when the internet boom happened in the early 2000s. And I mean, I was young, but I still got to see that flow. I got to see it kind of start, but not really. They weren't sure what was going to happen. And then it kind of exploded. And I feel like it's going to be the exact same with this industry. It's kind of
I would completely
slow
agree with
getting there.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would venture to say, you know, in the midst of COVID, you know, we always have to look at the glass half full, and I firmly believe that this will only propel forward full federal legalization, which, you know, therein should help a whole lot of people and truly destigmatize an industry that still is hampered by people looking at it as non-traditional medicine.
Right.
At the end of the day, it is medicine. It just happens to be a plant-based medicine that we
Right.
definitely have a lot to learn about. So,
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as potential for the industry, and again, I know you're a newborn as far as it's concerned, but where are you seeing the most? And this is a wide open question. Where are you
Okay.
specifically seeing the most potential in the industry as it grows, as it evolves?
Mhm.
And what do you think could help propel that?
I mean, I think the edibles market is something I see getting a lot bigger than what it is. Um, you know, it's not, obviously we know that there's the, you know, the cannabis smoke and the vaping and all of that. But I think edibles it's cleaner. At least, you know, this is completely my opinion, but it's cleaner, and it's more of like a medicine format, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Um, so I definitely, that's like the most excited part that I am in the industry. And then I didn't remember what your second question was.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, the most potential. I would selfishly have to agree with you. As a investor, entrepreneur within an edibles manufacturing company, I do feel there's a lot of potential there as well.
Mhm.
I know that, you know, like you said, I feel like there's something to be said for people, especially of the elder generation, being able to uptake something that is more comfortable, more socially conscionable, and especially in the times of COVID. But
Mhm.
to each their own. Everyone knows exactly what's best for their health, and thank God we have
Yeah.
options. So, but no, I agree with you. I think there's definitely a lot of potential in that regard, and we're very excited to be exploring terpenes and different profiles that can address various different issues. So, again, I would completely agree with you. Edibles is definitely an opportunity zone that is ripe for the picking. As far as other stuff that's on the horizon for Calyx,
Mhm.
when do you guys, are you planning on having any events coming up? Where can we find you? Where can we look for you? And how do we get in touch with you to get your help should we need some for our businesses?
Yeah, I mean, obviously COVID kind of threw everyone for a loop. But I know Joshua, the CEO, has been to a lot of events around the cannabis industry, you know, out there meeting, whether they're networking events or what have you. He does go to a lot of them. You know, a lot of our contacts have come from those events in the past. So as soon as that starts happening again, we'll definitely be there. And obviously myself included, I definitely want to be a part of those events as well. Um, and then other than that, I mean, you know, we're always on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, through our website. I'm going to be taking over the Twitter account for the business. So that's going to be coming soon. So yeah, I mean, we're out there. A lot of the, you know, candidates that we pull in are referral based, you know, because we always ask our candidates, you know, how did you hear about us? And a lot of it is word of mouth. It's through the industry, which we love to hear that, because that means, you know, people are talking about us, you know, it's getting our name out there.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Can I ask, I mean, do you serve the entire United States currently, or what you said you're focused on the Western part?
that's just me. So my counterpart, my colleague Ty, he does the eastern part of the U.S. So we do the whole of the U.S. Anybody in the U.S. is welcome to contact us. And then that, I mean, that goes for clients and candidates.
All right, wonderful. So I'm just curious. I always like to ask some random out there questions.
Yeah.
You know, as far as looking forward and opportunity and possibilities, I'm sure you have these aha moments every single day where it's just like, man, there are
Yeah.
ways that we can be helping the industry and just propelling it forward.
Oh yeah.
So as far as, I'm just curious, as far as the healthcare background, and your founder having that background, could he envision and/or have you guys ever discussed possibility of having, like, say, a network of cannabis-based nurses that could go to people, say, end-of-life care, you know, people in hospice? I mean, those type of situational things. I feel like there would be a really lovely opportunity for someone with that sort of background to come in to set up that infrastructure and to be able to serve their communities. Do you guys have a platform like that?
I mean, not currently, but it is something that we have discussed, and it's something that I am definitely really interested in because of you know, my background as well. You know, I think it would be amazing if we could get, you know, a group of nurses, like you said, that would be, you know, cannabis nurses that would help those patients, you know, and whether or not they're going to a specific client or just going to a specific, you know, person,
Mhm.
whatever it is, but it's a huge market and it doesn't really exist now. I know I've talked
No,
to a few nurses that are within the cannabis industry, and it is really interesting and refreshing to talk to them about it as well.
absolutely. That's amazing, and that it just that was kind of I had an aha moment back in February in New Jersey when I was at a conference, and there was a cannabinoid pharmacologist that was there lecturing, and I said to myself, this is what we need these in every single pharmacy. We need people who can be referred if we are going to evolve and grow this into a fully functioning national system,
Yeah.
and truly educate people on what cannabinoids are, the power of them, and how to integrate that with other traditional medications.
Yeah, and you really hit it with the educating, because there's a lot of people that don't really know, you know, if they do want to try it, you know, to see if it's something that would work for them. They don't know how much to take for their illness, or how it's going to affect them or any of that. So educating, you know, I mean, my mom included. My mom, you know, she has an immune disorder that affects her daily and she's in pain. So, you know, edibles is the way to go for her, but she still is new and she still has questions and doesn't really know how it works or how it's going to affect her.
And let's face it. At the end of the day, I mean, if I didn't know any better and I didn't know anything, and I've listened to everything, I'd be scared as hell too. You know, we need some guidance, and
Yeah.
I'm really happy that your group is looking ahead, is looking forward to being able to solve those solutions for people like us.
Yeah, it's not going away anytime soon, if ever. So
Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon.
no.
So, some final thoughts. So you're based in Florida now. You're working the West Coast, however. Are you
Hey,
based
we're
out
setting up right now. I
of
got the mic
California
on
full
and I'll
time?
to do the introduction.
Oh, Jeff, I think you're live there. I want to put on mute. We're very excited. Tonight we are in an all-new studio. Chef is piloting a real nice studio out in Jersey, and we have the pleasure of serving up some fun dishes
That's
there this
awesome.
evening. So I think we're muted now finally, though. But what I was going to say is some final thoughts. You're based out of you have the West Coast, but you're based out of Florida now currently, full-time or just visiting?
Well, so my mom had surgery, so I'm just kind of helping out at the moment. So
Okay, good deal.
yeah.
That's good. Well, we really thank you for being on the show this evening. This has been a lot of fun. Everyone, please go check out Calyx. They are an excellent staffing company that can help you out with any of your needs, from small to large. We thank you, Breanne, for coming on the show this evening.
Thank you.
Go check out their website. I believe it is calyx.com.
Calyxstaffing.com.
Calyxstaffing.com. So calyxstaffing.com. Breanne, thank you so much. Reggie, are you there, my friend?
Oh, I'm alive and kicking. Yes, indeed. I am here.
And well. Alive and well.
Life is good. Today is cash, the best day of my life. Yesterday is a cancer check. Tomorrow is a promissory note I may never collect. Today is cash, the best day of my life. Welcome to Cannabis Pitch Live. Thank you so much from Calyx for their staffing and providing all your staffing needs for your cannabis industry. So let's turn it over, Joe, to I think they're ready in Philadelphia. They're itching to get on and see what they're
all
doing.
right. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat this evening. We did a little flip-flop this eve for those of you who don't tune in weekly. Jeff Walter is in the studio with our very own Chef Niko, and they are going to be cooking up some tasty, tasty delights with terpenes this evening. So gentlemen, if you can unmute yourself, we will get to cooking.
Terpenes. So I'm putting on a pair of gloves because we want to promote the most important thing, and that is sanitation.
Welcome,
This
Chef Niko. We
short
just heard
rib
you.
has been sanitized. It has been cleaned. It's ready to go. I'm just going to trim the fat off right here, okay? So we're going to trim that off and expose the top skin. By doing that, that allows us to season that top skin. There we go. So you want to start off real easy. You don't want to take off too much of the actual meat. Sometimes you take a small percentage. That's not a problem. There we go.
Do we have
Now,
to
those
restart?
that are meat lovers, you can save the top of this. This is perfect to literally place into any type of beef stock.
Do you want me to
stew.
restart? I can
You
go
can
back
make a
and
lot of
restart.
fun things with this. If not, you just let it go. So we have our beef short rib.
Let me go back
We're
and
going to
restart that.
trim the last portion off, just so then we have a nice surface to season. This
Niko,
last part
Niko,
right
We
here,
got to restart it.
gotcha.
Okay, sorry for the technical difficulty, folks. I do believe that we are ready now. Are we ready?
Are you guys ready?
Yes. Okay, sorry for the technical difficulty, folks. My name is Jeff Walter, and this is Cooking with Terpenes. We are here live in Jambi Studio, who is our sponsor for tonight's event. We want to thank Jambi Studios, and as always, Chef Niko is here with us live in studio to go over how we're going to cook with cannabis, terpenes, and beef short ribs. So, Chef Niko, pleasure to see you again.
Nice, Jeff.
Thanks for coming out,
Appreciate
and I
it.
look forward to tonight's show.
Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, once again, we're here cooking with terpenes. We're just in a wonderful, nice, brand new studio. We're going to make sure we get all of this wonderful education, plant-based information, how to dose your terpenes in a way that is low and slow for the beginners, intermediate, and for those that are experts. We're going to finish this plate off at about 300 milligrams, okay? So first, we're going to get our glove on. Started taking off some of the fat already.
Your part was
Get our glove on. Make sure that we are promoting safe sanitary actions with our meat. This beef short rib was clean, sanitized. It's good to go. Now we're just going to cut off some of this silver skin. The silver skin is something that does not really come off on its own. It's a very tough lining of protein. So we want to make sure that those fibers are removed from the beef. Now that gives us a nice clean surface that we can season on right here, okay? So once again, this is our bone. That is not a piece of fat. That is a solid bone. I'll turn it to the side. That part right there is the bone marrow. So we want to make sure that we slowly cook this beef short rib to let all of these ancient trace minerals bleed out of this bone and get right into this wonderful cut of beef short ribs. So we're going to do a simple seasoning with salt, pepper, garlic, and some olive oil. Real simple, no worries. All right. So we're just going to get this on right here. We're going to season all sides. When it comes to the beef short ribs, if you just season the top is going to taste good. If we season the bottom, just the bottom is going to taste good. So you want to get everything on all sides. There we go. All right. And it's okay if we're like, Chef Niko, that's a lot of salt. Do you see how thick this is? Once all the fat renders off and the protein strands turn into butter, if you didn't season this heavy, you're going to have an amazing FOTB, fall off the bone short rib that has a bland taste, and we don't want that, guys. We want to make sure that it's tasting like to the point where you call somebody and be like, oh my God, my beef short ribs are amazing. So how do we do that? You give it fair seasoning from the beginning. There's a lot of water in this. If you can see, let me get to that. You see that? That right there shows how much water is inside of here. If I were to quantify how much water is actually inside of this beef short rib, probably we're looking at about maybe half a cup to a cup of beef water, okay? So this is why you season it a certain way, so when the oils render off, when the waters render off, it's not a problem. You're in good shape, okay? So we're gonna add a little bit of the garlic powder. Okay, now if you have a lot of these, you would lay them down onto a piece of parchment paper and you would just season all of them the same time, turn it, season all the same time, turn it. This way you can have some order to it. But it's just one, it's a nice piece. The most important part about this segment is that you learn how to take this raw piece of beef short rib and learn the science of the temperatures so we can get to that wonderful fall off the bone level, okay? So this is why we're taking some extra time to add some flavors, to add some techniques that are going to be amazing at the end. Now, there's no need to pat this. There's no need to rub this down. We're just going to add a little bit of olive oil right here. There we go. And now we're in good shape. Right on top. Why a little bit of olive oil? Because we're adding another component of healthy fat just to make this top portion crisp up, because we're putting it in the oven for 12 minutes at 475 degrees. A piece of beef that's this big, nothing can happen to it but caramelization. That allows, when the temperature starts rising up the beef, it's going to hit it like a ceiling and go back down to that hard thing at the bottom called a bone. That will allow the bone to start steaming. Realistically, bone may look hard, but it's literally very porous calcium strands of protein. So we take those temperatures, we get the whole beef hot for 12 minutes, and then we bring it down to 315 for another 45 minutes. And then after that, we drop it to 235 degrees for 8 to 10 to 16 to 24 hours. After 8 hours, it's fall off the bone. It just depends on how much you want it to fall off the bone. Personally, myself, I will cook this for 24 hours. And nothing can burn once it's sitting in an extra cup of water and an extra quarter cup of its own fat at 235 degrees. You see where I'm going with this? So that's how you do this. We're gonna get a pan. We're gonna get it into the oven. Once again, I'm taking off my gloves in a very safe manner that allows no splatting of oils, no splatting of any beef juices. This way we do not cross-contaminate. I'm gonna go get a pan, and then we are gonna get this into the oven. All right. Seasonings, I'm gonna slide over. Okay, so we have our pan here. All we have to do now, and this is a wonderful clad cast iron pan, non-stick by nature. We're just gonna place it into the center, bone down, all right? Once again, for those that need to look, you get your thumb underneath the glove. You grip that part close your hand. If you don't close your hand and you go forward, everything will start to splat forward. So literally, close, close, wrap it around. Now, literally, there's no way at this point cross-contamination can happen. You open up and it naturally is on the finger. You pull it off, okay? Very important step-by-step during a time of uncertainty. We have to make sure that sanitation is even above the food, all right? That's what makes beautiful food. So we're gonna put this in the oven, 475, all right? There we go. Now, because of that time frame that I explained and how long it actually takes to cook, you know, Chef Niko has already started some wonderful fall off the bone beef short ribs that have actually been here, and I've portioned it, okay? So I have taken away some of the fat. The bone gets so soft that you can literally remove the bone at that point. This is very close to the end portion. I've added some roasted shallots. I've added some plum tomatoes. We have these beef short ribs braising on slow, and we're going to plate this nicely. It's literally, it already fell off the bone, actually. So there we go. We have that in good shape. What do we do next? We're going to add some arugula. Now, this is when we start getting into our nutritional components. Green, vitamin A fights infection. Arugula may not be your most favorite thing to do, but what we're gonna do is we're going to add it to a purple cabbage saute. Just a real simple process. I am going to grab a spatula. I am going to remove this cutting board with the spatula and the knife. Wash that later. It's assembly time. Okay. So we have the purple cabbage. Purple cabbage, saute it, pepper, garlic, little olive oil, little splash of vinegar. Most important thing are these wonderful leafy greens here. Now, when we put this in, we are pan flashing this. We are not spending a lot of time with this in the pan, or better yet, on the flame. So I'm going to grab my plate. And this is how simple it is to actually make this meal. Let's just say you already have some leftover mashed potatoes. Let's just say you want to kick it up and put some cheddar and some chives in this mashed potatoes. Well, I actually did that, which is very exciting. So we are going to place this in the center of the plate, or a little bit above the center. This way we have some playtime at the bottom with some sauces. This way we can up our dosage a little bit. And this gives us a nice little area space and some glue for our beef short ribs, which is really important. All right. So we're going to put a little tiny well in the center just to support those beef short ribs. Our purple cabbage is talking. I call sauteing talking. The moment it starts talking, you're ready to go. You don't even have to question it. So we're just going to take a few of these, and we're just going to drop it in there, and there we go. We're going to add a little bit of salt off the elbow. We're going to add a little bit of pepper. Okay. And we're going to go with a little bit of garlic powder. And there it is. Simple. Remember, salt, pepper, garlic, olive oil. Why? Salt pulls out flavor. Pepper supports the flavor that was pulled out. And garlic is your go-to anti-inflammatory, which is very important in everyday life. That's as simple as the logic is. This is done, ready to go. Why? Because we don't want to spend a lot of time with that phytonutrients leaving and going into the air. We just want a little light saute to represent some of these bright greens. And what we're going to do is we're going to place this around the mashed potatoes. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm doing this with a spatula just because I have a little talent on this. But I would say if the spatula technique is not working for you, you can definitely slide it into a bowl, use a fork, and being that you're home, use your hands. But you see where I'm getting a nice little area space around the bowl. Oh, look at that steam. You know what that is? That's cooking with terpenes. Oh, that's so nice. So now we are going to go right to the beef short ribs. Place the beef short ribs right on top of the mashed potatoes. You see where we're going with this, right? The only thing that we have to do is add our sauces. So we're at the good point, people. Where's the cannabis? There's many different locations and areas that we can do this now. If at 425 degrees, I were to add an active compound, which is full of active delta-9, I would lose it all because at 475 or 425, it's too powerful in heat to literally allow the active compound to exist. It'll burn off. So you must remember that when you're dosing anything, including baked goods, but that's why baked goods have their safeguard, because they're about 325 degrees to make chocolate chip cookies, to make brownies, so they're safeguarded. If you go to 350 or higher, you're really touching that line on whether you're gonna have any active compounds left after it comes out of the oven. So remember that. Leave the short ribs to do what short ribs do. Remember, they're gonna be there literally on my standard, close to 24 hours, if not more. So just remember that. Now, once it's done and you've pulled it apart and the bone has come off, just like turning a page of a book, once that happens, now you have the opportunity to dose the beef because you're only heating it up at a slow level. You have an opportunity to dose some of the oil that actually allowed the sauteing of the purple cabbage and the arugula. So now you have two components. And if you want a third component, you can dose your sauces. You can dose these in a comfortable range for you. So for all of our inexperienced, I've never even seen a cannabis leaf before, virgins to THC, remember, slow and low, 15, 20 milligrams for you guys. Intermediate, experienced folks that consume cannabis maybe twice a day, you can bring yourself up to 50, 75, maybe 100, depending on the type of medium high roller you are. And then if you're just that person that when cannabis comes knocking on your door, you're like, yeah, I'm in. Where do I sign up? At that point, you can go to that 200, 225, 300, 325 milligrams because you understand your body. Anybody that's saying, whoa, that's way too much, good for you. You understand your body. You wouldn't do that to yourself. Anybody that's just like, right on, Niko, yeah, I'm talking to everybody because it's important that we as a community in the cannabis sector understand that we are all doing something equally, but we are all separate in how it introduces its chemicals to our body. So remember that. So let's go back to some of the plating. I'm going to put on a pair of gloves. This way I can place this beef dead center. Oh, we're gonna have this sit up real nice, right dead center. I do believe that all I need is one of them because that is just a beautiful look right there to me. These charred pieces of shallots I'll place in the corner with the burnt side out. There's such a beauty of getting that caramelization from the shallots and the plum tomatoes. Oh yeah, some of that crispy skin coming right off of this cast iron pan. So there goes another great mineral. We're infusing iron into our food, which allows us to receive that iron. That's the healthiest thing that we can do, is make sure we have a well-supported iron in our body. Most Americans are deficient in iron. So just remember that this is how you can get a few micro dosage of iron while micro dosing your meal. Looks like it's going good, huh? Well, Cooking with terpenes, that's literally what it's all about. And there we go. We have that piece there. So in the nature of sauces, all these beautiful colors, I would like to represent some of the red, some of the green. So I'm going to start first with a little bit of balsamic reduction to go right around it. There we go. We've started something, and I'll show you what that is in one moment. This right here is some homemade sriracha sauce made with roasted red peppers and a few other hot peppers. This will allow you to mimic the sriracha. And remember, on a phytonutrient level, any color that is red, that riboflavin allows your body to convert all carbohydrates into energy, meaning that your mashed potatoes will now have an easier conversion of energy in your body because there's red tomato here, because there's red pepper in this sauce. So just remember that. That's a really, really good look. And now we are going to put 1 nice dot, 2 nice dot, 3, 4, and 5. Beautiful. I don't need my glove anymore, so I'll move that to the side. Okay. And now this green sauce, and this green sauce is made out of steamed cauliflower, hemp seed, salt, pepper, garlic, and olive oil. And then to make it green, I added spirulina. Now, spirulina is absolutely amazing. This is when we leave our plant-based elements on land and we go to our plant-based elements in the water. Spirulina is a lake freshwater algae. This kind of represents what we did a week or so ago when we did the sea vegetables. This doesn't taste like sea, nor does it taste like a lake or a river, but this algae actually has some extremely high antioxidant compounds. Why do you always hear me pushing antioxidants? Because as cannabis consumers, most of us may be smokers. So I'm talking to some of the smokers on this one. When you smoke, you create a free radical elements that are through and running into the body that if you are not ushering antioxidants on a regular basis, you begin to affect and damage your DNA just from the beauty of cannabis. So remember, everything deserves a counterbalance. So the polar opposite of consuming it by smoking it is eating and drinking your antioxidants, because antioxidants, they force and ward off these free radicals that could go to the DNA and cause damage. They actually share an electron to the free radicals. It's almost like paying somebody off not to bully the DNA. And literally, the free radicals, they go away. So that's what this sauce is. Once again, you can dose all of these sauces. We'll cover that in one moment. And I'm going to put a nice dot here, a nice dot here, and a nice dot there. And there we go. I will use a nice streak technique. And there we go, that's covered. And the final plating portion of this is right here, ready to go. You have your beef short ribs, you have your mashed potatoes, you have the beautiful purple and green, you have the tomatoes, you have all of the sauces. Together, this plate is 300 milligrams. That is for the experienced. You can dose this down as you feel if you are not experienced, but I want to let you know that all you have to do is follow these instructions and you'll be cooking with terpenes. I think it's a really good thing. I'm Chef Niko. We've been doing this for a while and we're going to continue to do this for a while. Let me know if there's any questions.
All right, folks, any questions for the chef at this point? Please feel free to speak up, and now is the time. Niko, thank you so much for that description.
All right, Chef Niko, while we wait for the audience to give us any questions, we want to really take this moment and thank Jambi Studios. And I've got my phone in my hand because some people are actually texting me right now as we speak.
Okay.
Chef Niko, one question from the audience member is, what was the green seaweed, or can you just repeat what it is?
Right.
Because that's what they're asking here, and I just want to make sure that we get that correct. So what was the green dosing you use there?
The green dosing here for the viewing audience, the green specifically is called spirulina. You can find spirulina from your supermarket all the way to GNC. And if you can't find that, by all means, I believe Amazon would have a fast and efficient way to get you some. Once again, it is a freshwater plant algae. This is why it is this high in its antioxidant level, in its iron level, in its vitamin count. It is a very, very good plant-based element. If you want to, you can put this into your smoothies. You can put this into your savory dishes. It really goes a long way by doing micro dosing. So viewing audience, just remember that. Micro dose this. Consider it as potent as THC. You don't want to overdo this. Less is more with spirulina.
Thank you.
Yes.
Audience, do we have any other questions for Chef Niko tonight? All right. So actually, here we go. So can we talk about the time it should take for the THC in your doses to release once you eat the food?
Oh, what a beautiful question. Okay, so it all depends on your extraction. Was it extracted by a fat oil process? Was it extracted by an ethanol process? Was that ethanol process done in a cryogenic way? Was this done at home? Was this done in a lab? Was this done in a mass-produced edibles factory? All of this determines how soon it will actually activate in your body. For myself personally, if you make your own butter, your own oils from flowers and terpenes, you will have a range depending on how well you do it. And when I mean how well you do it is how well do you decarboxylate this active or this THC into an active compound of delta-9. When you get that science down, you can start feeling the effects between 12 minutes, 15 minutes, or even 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be a 45-minute to an hour. Why? Because when you consume this, your edibles filters through your liver. When you smoke herb, it filters through your lungs and goes to your brain. By filtering through your liver, it takes time dispersing through the body. So this is why you always see me expressing how to place great looking food with and cooking with terpenes, because it allows you to say, I'm giving my body, I'm giving organ nutrition, I'm giving liver nutrition, and this allows the food itself to literally begin to start the process of how long does it take. Each body is different, but the more clean you eat, the more plant-based you eat. Remember, folks, none of this stuff is going to work, whether it's CBD for pain, whether it's THC just to have a good time or lower anxiety or depression. None of it is going to work if you are not balancing your consumption with plant-based or junk food. You know which one's going to allow it to happen faster. So prep for it. Have a junk food day, whatever, but don't expect that edibles to get you where you need to go. Realize that, take a day or two, do a small detox, start eating clean, and I guarantee you, you will enjoy that edibles. It will definitely jump in a lot sooner than you think.
Okay, maybe Chef Niko, I've got one question from the audience member here. Is there any way that you could go over each item on the dish and talk about the quick nutritional factors of each piece of the dish here?
Absolutely, absolutely. So with my thermometer, I'm going to lean this plate up, and I'm just going to point to, first, the beef. Your beef is going to give you your ancient trace minerals, because we cause the bone to bleed to the point that literally I can take the bone and just crumble it with my fingers. I don't have to do anything else. That meant that all the marrow has released and we're in good shape. So you're getting ancient trace minerals from the beef short ribs. After that, you have your potatoes. Your potatoes have some cheddar. Your potatoes have some chive. The chive is going to give you a dose of vitamin A. Your cheese is going to give you a form of healthy calcium. Especially the cheese, it should be grass-fed, pasteurized cheese. This way you get your nutrient count. That means that the cow went out, ate real grass, produced real milk. Let's move on. potato is going to add as a healthy carbohydrate. Now, let's bounce off of that real quick and go to the tomato. Once again, the tomato. And let's just cover that the tomato can be a counterbalance on phytonutrient level because it's red. And that red in the flavonoid category converts the carbohydrate, which is the mashed potato, into energy. So now you're seeing where this is going. Now let's continue to move on. We have the arugula. It's much more in abundance than the chives. So that's going to give us a higher count of the same vitamin A. And once again, vitamin A fights infection. The purple cabbage. We could talk about the vitamins and the minerals of the purple cabbage, but I want you to focus on the phytonutrients again. Very drawn to the color, you should be, because that color and nature of it being phytonutrients is going to once again allow you to convert these carbohydrates into energy, because even though it's purple, purple still has that same chemical code of red. Understand that? Same thing with orange. This is also where terpenes are coming from. Terpenes are a good close friend to phytonutrients because all of this is plant life related. So a lot of the vitamin A conversations that I have, terpenes is literally vitamin A. I don't know if you know that, but remember that. Terpenes is vitamin A. Most of our plant-based terpenes are green, so they're going to stem from that. Most of that is going to re-establish itself, whether you're eating it raw or cooking it, and that's why I just flashed it so you can still see the bright green. That lets you know there's nutrients there. And then we have our shallots. I love shallots. I think they're absolutely awesome. They're in the sodium family. And this is how we start feeding the mitochondria, because the code is sulfur family, B family, antioxidant family. We have the sulfur family from the shallots. We have the B family from the purple cabbage. We have the antioxidants from the dotting of the spirulina. And now that code allows us to speak to the second DNA strand in every cell. The food science of this plate is immaculate. The plate looks good. It's dosed well. Awesome question. I'm ready for more. I thought that was great. And that's how you break it down.
Actually, Chef Niko, I think that is it for tonight.
All right.
We would like to once again thank you for coming down to Jambi Studios and thank our sponsor, Jambi, for tonight's episode of Cooking with Terpenes live in the Jambi Studios. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we will see you here next week. Same time, same place.
Just remember one thing, folks. Do yourself some homework. Go home, go to the supermarket, scratch a lime or a lemon and smell it. That's terpenes. Take a piece of basil, tear it, and smell it. That's terpenes. Just remember, this is a simple, fun way of cooking with terpenes. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining Cannabis Pitch Live on another wonderful week. We will see you next week, the same time, the same place. Stay safe, stay well, wear a mask. Take care, everyone.